Hello, my name is Axel Hoagie. Today I'm going to be talking about Midsommar. But what makes me qualified to discuss Ari Aster's polarizing 2019 folk horror film? Firstly, I grew up on horror movies. Watching movies is a popular pastime in my family, and horror is a favorite. Horror films allow us to experience and confront primal years in an engrossing yet safe way. People tend to look down on the genre of horror, calling it trashy or cheap, yet some of the greatest films known to man reside within this genre. Classics like Alien, Scream, Dawn of the Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, The Shining, Jaws. You get the idea. I'm also currently a cinematic arts major here at UTA, so it's safe to say I think about filmmaking fairly often. Another thing to mention is that, besides the first 20 minutes of the film, Midsommar takes place entirely in Sweden. Now, not only am I 50% Swedish, but my mom was born in Sweden. She immigrated to the US when she was 13, and so growing up I was always surrounded by various aspects of Swedish culture. Salmon and meatballs were a staple of my diet, and I've been to IKEA more times than you. I've even had the privilege to actually visit Sweden 4 times in my life. In total, I've spent over a month of my life in Sweden. Hopefully you now have faith in me to have an interesting discussion about Midsommar. But if you don't, I don't care. But I don't really think that this is an appropriate environment. Let's go move outside.
When I got to the park, my microphone stopped working almost immediately, but I didn't notice for a while. So this whole part I was talking and making commentary, but none of that got picked up. I tried putting up the poster by putting the tape on the back, but that didn't work. Then I tried a new strategy of wrapping the tape around a bunch of times, and it also wasn't working. But then I used the chair as a brace, which gave me the extra support I needed to secure the poster.
I did not think that would take that long.
Then I switched into my outfit, a white top like in the movie, and a flower wreath. But I couldn't get the flower wreath to stay on top of my head, so I had to use tape. Then I recorded most of the script, not realizing that the microphone was not working and the audio was unusable. Once I realized it, I tried to fix it for a while, but it wouldn't work, so I had to tape my phone to my chest to use as a microphone.
Filmmaking, everyone. We're almost there, people.
After that was done, I was ready to actually film.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do.
Okay. I told you I wanted to go to Sweden.
No, well, you said it would be cool to go.
Yeah, and then I got the opportunity and I decided
Look, I
to
don't
do
mind
it.
you going. I just wish you would have told me, that's all.
Well, I just apologize, Danny.
For those of you who are unfamiliar, Ari Aster made his breakthrough in 2018 with his previous film, Hereditary. Released under the independent film company A24, Hereditary was met with widespread critical acclaim upon release. Toni Collette specifically was praised for her depraved yet grounded performance. Comparisons between Hereditary and Midsommar are unavoidable, as they have some similarities. Both are horror films that deal with grief, broken relationships, and cult activity. Hereditary is more of an unpredictable family drama, whereas Midsommar has a slower, more methodical buildup of tension and focuses on the dissolution of a romance rather than a family. The protagonist of Midsommar is Danny, who is played by Florence Pugh, who I have tied up here. Co-starring is Jack Rayner, playing Christian, Danny's boyfriend. This movie goes straight for the throat in the first sequence, during which Danny is stressing about a cryptic message she receives from her sister. It says, "I can't anymore. Everything's black. Mom and Dad are coming too. Goodbye." She's pretty worried about this, so she decides to call Christian, and we really see how distant their relationship is through this phone call. We don't see Christian's face at all. Instead, we focus solely on Danny's expressions and her worry. We also learn that Christian has been planning to end his relationship with Danny, but hasn't because they've been dating for around 4 years and he doesn't want to disrupt the status quo. Eventually, we learn that Danny's sister has killed herself along with their parents with carbon monoxide poisoning, which understandably sends Danny into a state of emotional destitution. In my opinion, this is the scariest part of the film. My entire family dying is a very frightening concept to me. Christian is now basically stuck with her, as he can't really break up with his girlfriend of 4 years right after her entire family dies. Out of guilt, Christian invites Danny to join him and his friends / fellow anthropology students on a trip to Sweden to study ancient midsummer traditions. Midsummer is an annual Swedish holiday that celebrates the summer solstice, aka the longest day of the year. People dance around a tall pole, collect flowers, drink, and feast. After a long flight and several hours in the car, they finally arrive to the remote village of the Harga, a rural Swedish commune. During this second act, we continue to learn about the rituals and customs of the Harja community, and Danny slowly realizes how toxic her relationship with Christian is. He's emotionally unavailable, continually dismissive, and the relationship just lacks any sense of empathy or reciprocity. If only Danny were dating me instead of Christian, I would have treated her so much better. The rituals, customs, and traditions of this rural community are meticulously researched and detailed, adding to the authenticity and realism of the film's setting. The audience is given an insight into the villagers and their beliefs, which adds depth to the main conflict. The shared experience of participating in the festival helps strengthen the Harga's belief system and transmit their cultural values from one generation to the next. Ari Aster spent months doing research on ancient Swedish traditions and folklore to make this film as authentic as possible. This helps the Harga people feel more grounded and realistic, as a lot of the things they do are based in reality, whereas the more horrific things are purely inventions of Aster's. He also did a fair amount of research into Norse mythology, as well as learning the entire Scandinavian runic alphabet, all for this movie. In the film, people wear outfits with specific runes, which tell us things about their character. These outfits are in a hieroglyphic language invented entirely for the film, albeit heavily based on the Scandinavian runic alphabet. For example, at one point in the movie, Danny is shown wearing an outfit with two runes, one which symbolizes journey, and the other one meaning new beginnings or lost hope. Another factor which makes this film enjoyable is how breathtaking the cinematography is. The film is visually stunning, with bright and colorful landscapes contrasting with the extremely dark events that unfold. Most of the movie takes place during the day, as during Midsommar in Sweden, nights only last around 2 hours. This adds to the horror, as we see every horror clearly. It also tells us more about the Harga people and their customs. They don't see the horrific things they do as evil or shameful, so why not just do them during the day? It also helps to convey that in this community of extreme emotional empathy, there's really no place to hide your feelings. Another thing about the cinematography is how they convey the character's mental state. Because the characters are often on shrooms, the background is usually shifting in strange and disorienting ways. This puts us into a headspace similar to the characters. The acting in this film is superb, specifically on Florence Pugh's part. Her portrayal of a woman dealing with extreme grief and mental health issues is very heart-wrenching and chilling. Jack Reynor also shines as Christian, perfectly capturing the character's self-absorption and just general aloofness.
Happy birthday to you. Fuck.
Stop, it's fine.
What? You didn't think I forgot, did you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got fucked up by the daylight. I thought it was yesterday. Happy birthday.
It's fine.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you. I'm not upset. It's okay.
How are you such a bad boyfriend when you're dating Florence Pugh? Like, I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, look at her. But Axel, I hear you saying, what is this movie even about? According to Ari Aster, the Harga's language is empathy. They share in grief as well as joy. Danny finds not only the empathy she craves, but also the sense of family and community among the Harga. The themes of this movie are explored through Danny's emancipation from her relationship with Christian and her acceptance into the community of the Harga. It's a cautionary tale against complacency and codependency, which argues for the extreme importance of community. It's about tradition versus progress, collectivism versus individualism. It's about the power of belief and the power of empathy. But most importantly, it's a film about the dangers of emotional abuse. Midsommar is not for the faint of heart, as it contains graphic violence, unsettling themes, and disturbing imagery. The film deals with issues such as grief, trauma, and toxic relationships, which could be a bit much for some viewers. However, if you think you can handle it, I would recommend giving it a watch. The cinematography is breathtaking, and there are some very unsettling and memorable moments. And damn, if Florence Pugh ain't fine. Thanks for watching. She's good at acting, too. Okay, bye. Ow, ow, ow. Okay. Oh, it's tape. There's tape in my hair. Why did I do this? Ow. Oh my gosh. Ow. Oh, don't put tape in your hair, kids. Stop. Oh. Ow. Oh. Don't put tape in your hair.